Good morning, it's September 10th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. I think that most of us now understand that politically, Congress is unable to do much of anything. Both Republicans and Democrats have abandoned the art of negotiation, and both put politics above the needs of the American public. In the House of Representatives, we see legislation being passed on strictly partisan votes. The latest tax bill is a classic example. It was loaded with middle-class tax benefits, but not a single Democrat could find something in the bill that they could support and therefore cast a vote in favor of passing. The bill passed by a couple of votes and was sent to the Senate. Over in the Senate, they used a process called reconciliation to pass the bill. Under this procedure, the minority party cannot use Rule 22, what we're going to discuss today, the filibuster rule, that would simply require 60 votes to pass, and the bill could pass with a simple majority. In the last Congress, where the Democrats had a slight majority, they were urging their members to vote to change Senate rules and get rid of the filibuster rule. Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Kirsten Sinema of Arizona refused to go along, much to the consternation of their Democratic colleagues, and were castigated by them and the liberal media. By getting rid of the rule, they would have been able to ram Biden's liberal policies through the Congress without having to negotiate with the Republicans. Now, it was amusing to watch Democrats after they lost last November. Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Senate leader, went to the Senate floor and pleaded with the Republicans not to change the rule now that they were in the minority. Don't do to us what we were going to do to you, was his message. And that brings us to where we are today in the discussion of Rule 22 in the Senate. Democrats are blocking the Trump administration's nominees to fill positions within the executive branch. They're not blocking them because they think they're unqualified to hold the positions that they were nominated to fill, but rather over political differences, most notably that Trump was cutting spending on things they wanted to continue spending on. So now Republicans are going to make some changes in how the rule is adopted and applied. In November 2013, late Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid detonated the first Senate, quote, nuclear option. He curbed the filibuster to confirm judicial nominees, except for the Supreme Court. Rather than 60 votes to break a filibuster, such nominees would only need a simple majority. That got a lot of Obama judges through the process. Former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell ignited the second nuclear option in 2017. The Republican Senate from Kentucky anticipated a Democratic filibuster as the Senate tried to confirm Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. So McConnell chipped away at the filibuster bar for nominations to the High Court. McConnell then lowered the number for Supreme Court justice from 60 yeas to 51. Now Senate Majority Leader John Thune is poised to discharge the parliamentary equivalent of what they're calling a suitcase nuke on Thursday. Thune's gambit isn't something to ignore. It won't carry the same immediate parliamentary weight of the maneuvers executed by Reid and McConnell. However, it's another crack in the Senate custom of the filibuster. The legislative filibuster still exists. Democrats can still block bills if they can prevent the body from cobbling together 60 yeas to break a filibuster. Thune will follow the playbook established by Reid and McConnell to alter the Senate precedent. And this is really not a rule change. The Senate requires 67 votes to break a filibuster on a rules change. But Thune's going to expedite the confirmation of these lower-level nominees with his minor change. And this panel will not include judges or cabinet secretaries. Now, Thune's gambit is set in motion Monday by introducing a resolution to accelerate a slate of about 40 nominees. By rule, the Senate will take a procedural vote to break a filibuster of this resolution to confirm the batch of nominees on Thursday. The resolution itself, which is specific to this type of batch of nominees, needs 60 votes. The Senate won't get 60 votes. Now, I'm not going to go through the procedure that Thune will have to go through because it's going to require several votes. But in the end, he will be able to modify the rules so that these nominees can go forward and be confirmed. And I've always felt that the president, no matter which party, is entitled to have their team put in place as soon as possible. The new president won the election, and as Barack Obama so famously said, quote, elections have consequences, it's now time to get that team in place and quit fooling around. Now, I do support the use of Rule 22 when it comes to legislation. It was specifically designed to encourage negotiation between the two parties. While I worked in the Senate, we passed a lot of major pieces of legislation that was negotiated between Republicans and Democrats. Neither side got everything they wanted, but in the end, we found a compromise that would work, and it worked for the American people. This is what Congress appears to be no longer able to do. worked with each other. And this is what forced John Thune to make this change in the rule. He needs to do this so that the president, whether it's a Republican or Democrat going forward, can put their team in place, because that's what the American people voted for. But I support keeping it for legislation, because that way no one party can ram something through that the other party would simply undo in the next Congress. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.